massively multiplayer online game. Role-playing game? I feel like you can't have the mama without the The initialism doesn't really make sense otherwise. Anyways, I'm the burnout man, Chip. And while everyone else was out making lifelong memories to cherish throughout the decades, I honestly was kinda doing the same. I have a weird relationship with the MMO Danganronpa genre. On one hand, I've always been fascinated with the promise of playing in what could be a living world filled with hundreds, thousands, or even millions of other players running around killing wild boars or fighting bear asses or whatever you people do in these games. I don't really know, because I usually end up fishing. I also never ended up taking advantage of the massive component of the multiplayer in MMO, because I usually fumbled my way into the game due to an individual friend telling me to play with him, and 8 out of 10 times, it was shoddy. Say hi to the people, shoddy.
Mabinogi.
This isn't to say that I didn't like the games, but that I probably wouldn't have played them of my own volition if I didn't have a friend in the game telling me, you know, hey man, the water's fine, come on in. But, like, don't worry if you feel a warm spot or something, that's just in your head. What do you mean you're going home? I think between the monthly fees and the ridiculous amount of time you can sink into one of these games, it always just intimidated me to the point of trepidation with these games. However, I think there's also a third component. Almost all my friends that play video games have that one game. Most of you watching this probably have that one game. You know what I mean. That one game you always go back to when you're not playing something for a new experience. For some people, it's League of Legends. For others, it's a popular fighting game. Maybe somebody just replays a game like Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker or Dark Souls. It may even present itself as a sports title like FIFA, but those people really should seek professional help. All that to say, most people have that one game, and for what seems like millions of people, it's a Mamba Grandpa. I've always wanted a Mama Burger to be my one game, but always felt guilty about shelling out money every month for a game I realistically don't have enough time to get the most out of. Let's take Final Fantasy XIV for example. I really enjoy what I've played of it. Over the last couple of years, I've been slowly picking at A Realm Reborn, resubscribing for a month when I know I'll have particularly more free time than normal. However, it's been a couple of years and I'm still in the base game. I'm pretty sure the, 5th expansion just got announced. Bro, who has the time? I've got a mortgage to pay, man. I got Tears of the Kingdom to play. Have you played Tears of the Kingdom, Yoshi P?
Hi guys!
The guy who keeps adding more to the game I so desperately want to fully experience, but moves the goalposts faster than I can keep up with, keeping me in an endless spiral of FOMO and guilt of spending more money on a game I'm just gonna fish in even though I own every Animal Crossing game and... It's such a weird thing for me to reminisce on though. Almost every other Mambo Jambo I've played has been because another person wanted me to play with them, and I'd always have a great time, but I never got as into it as that person, and I'd usually move on to whatever new big game was coming out because the other person and I just weren't at the same level of investment. For instance, my gateway drug, as with most millennials, was RuneScape. I, as a really stupid preteen, had zero comprehension of what RuneScape was. You see, Extra Shoddy and I knew each other from elementary school, but his family had to move away because of the army a couple of years after we met. He and I had too strong of a bond and refused to let the hundreds of miles end the young friendship, so we decided modern problems required modern solutions. At the time, phone companies didn't let you have unlimited calling. Long-distance calls cost a good amount of money, but a lot of phone companies offered unlimited calling after 7 p.m. on weekends. Or at least that's what my mom always told me. For all I know, she made it up so that I couldn't call Shoddy every single day. Once I was in middle school, we got internet at our house, and Shoddy told me to install AOL Instant Messenger on my family's computer. From there, we were able to talk daily about the Smash Bros. Dojo updates for Brawl and all the leaks for new Pokemon games on Cerebi.net. Then, one day, Shoddy told me to install something called RuneScape. He didn't really do the best job of telling me what it was and pretty much sold it to me as an interactive chat room. I downloaded the game, lied about being 13, dodged the FBI investigation, and I was in. In what? I didn't know, but I was in it, baby. I met with Shoddy by some cows and just started killing pals and instant messaging him, never realizing there was a full game buried in there past a bovine holocaust and suboptimal AIM. From there, I heard rumblings of a game called World of Warcraft in my 8th grade halls. And lo and behold, my next door neighbor and his older brother were playing during the peak of Burning Crusade. That family was always a huge Blizzard family, playing Brood War and Frozen Throne for as long as I can remember. And I guess they finally jumped into WoW. I saved up my money from mowing yards to buy the battle chest and a 3-month subscription to the game and played alongside, even though they were vastly further into the game than I was. I then played off and on until Cataclysm was announced and kind of just poked my head in on the game to see where it was at, bouncing between that and whatever the big shooter was that year. Another mammogram I played because of Shoddy was a game called Mabinogi. This game was weird, to say the least. I don't know if I ever fully grasped the game, and pretty much just used it as a way to talk to Shoddy and play a loot cover of Through the Fire and Flames in a town square. You know, maybe if Shoddy is mentally recovered from that deep spiral with that game,
Oh no, I haven't.
he can make a video that actually has something to say about it.
Don't you dare.
Because all I can really say about it was a solid 6 out of 10 instant messaging replacement. I also played that Lord of the Rings Online MMO with the same buddy that got me into World of Warcraft, because we were both into Lord of the Rings, but neither of us really stuck with it and went back to World of Warcraft whenever our subs ran out. I don't have much to say on Lord of the Rings Online. I just thought I should mention it because we did waste our money to get the collector's edition that had a crappy ring in it that lost its color in a week and was too small to even be worn. The one MMORPG I did play of my own volition was a game called Ion. Aeon? Whatever. I wound up getting it when it was still a good game because somebody made a hype trailer for an upcoming patch set to Vox Populi by 30 Seconds to Mars, and I got so pumped over it I just had to try it out. I'm kind of a sucker for a well-made musical gaming trailer. Look no further than if I ever decide to talk about why I played Final Fantasy XIII. I actually find myself thinking about Ion and feel like I made up everything about that game being good in my head because I cannot find that video I saw and I've been looking for it for years. Josh Strife Hayes made a video about Ion and I was really sad to hear it went downhill because I thought it had a lot going for it, but since none of my friends played it, I soon found myself either back on World of Warcraft or Xbox Live. The last MMO I want to talk about is one I haven't played, but I've always been so interested in. It may be partly why I fight so heavily to keep playing Final Fantasy XIV. And that Morpheus rodeo is Final Fantasy XI. There was this old Flash animation series that Extra Shoddy showed me way back in the day called The Decline of Gaming. And it was one we both think back on fondly as I believe it opened my eyes, at least, to what gaming was. Before that, I had never heard of Metal Gear Solid, Resident Evil, The Legend of Zelda, The Minish Cap, or a lot of the other references made in those 3 videos, but the one that always boggled my mind was their bit on Final Fantasy XI. At the time, my only exposure to the Final Fantasy series was Final Fantasy X. I enjoyed what I'd played of the game, but I didn't really understand what an online version of that would look like. Truthfully, I didn't even bother looking it up, even years later with more context after having played a number of the defining games of the genre, until the Pro Jared video on the game. I'll admit, there's a certain sadistic part of me that wants to play that game. So, I made a deal with Extra Shoddy. If I can get this channel to 1,000 subscribers, I would get both he and I access to the game and we would do
This will not
something
hold up
with
in
it.
court. I hope you know that.
I don't know, man, what do you want from us? He's like 10% of the way there and I'm literally 1%. Maybe I'll have some ideas when that goalpost is actually tangible. So, you know the drill.
Smash that like button, tweet on that subscribe, ring that bell.
So anyways, that's kind of my highlighted experience with MMOs with some rose-tinted glasses. Let me know in the comments what your first MMO was and why was it RuneScape? Until next time, keep it tuned in.